Andy Barker PI is the best comedy you've never seen.
Now, why would Transcore do such a thing?
Transcore? No one's had a hand in everything. I mean, drugs, cement. Then they moved into chicken. That's where the real money is.
More than drugs?
Think about it. You can't turn heroin into a nugget.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Best Comedy You've Never Seen, and I've been really busy editing the next two Best Comedies You've Never Seen, to the point where I think I'm really going crazy from them. So I decided to take a break and work on a third Best Comedy You've Never Seen, because that makes total sense. But to try to keep it short, I decided to do the pilot episode of a short-lived television series called Andy Barker PI. Never heard of it? There's probably a reason, so let's take a look. Andy Richter became well known as Conan O'Brien's sidekick on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Andy, how are you? How you doing?
Oh, I'm just getting ready, starting my pre-binge frenzy that is Thanksgiving.
Before deciding to leave the show in May of 2000, Andy did see appearances in films and television before departing Late Night, but would hit the big time in 2002 with his own show, Andy Richter Controls the Universe, created by the amazing Victor Fresco.
Wendy? What are you doing here?
I just had to see you. Luckily, your front door was open.
I never leave my front door open.
No, that's stupid. It's probably what I'd say, but I'd regret it.
Andy would follow this up with a more traditional sitcom called Quintuplets, about a New Jersey family who had quintuplets.
Oh, you hear that, honey? It's another boy. That makes 3 boys and 2 girls.
Let's never have sex again.
After what I've seen today, I'm good.
The show was kind of funny, I guess, and actually lasted on Fox with a whole season consisting of 22 episodes before actually being canceled. Go figure. 2 years after Quintuplets, Andy Barker PI would launch as a mid-season replacement on NBC. The show was created by Conan O'Brien and Conan writer Jonathan Groff, so you knew right away it was going to be damn funny and very witty. Throw on Andy Richter as the star of the show, and you really have a good feeling that this show would be fantastic. NBC ordered the first season that consisted of 6 episodes. Sure enough, the show was fantastic, and sure enough, the show was just damn witty. Maybe too damn witty for its own damn good, and maybe went over some people's heads. There was people that never knew it existed. So let's take a look at the pilot and see what the premise of the show was. Andy Richter plays Morning. Once I actually finished this particular video, I had to edit it 8 different times just to get it past NBC Universal. It was up for a couple days until they decided to once again do a copyright strike and block it worldwide and take it down because of a very short, tiny clip. But let's take a look at what that clip was, how we're going to get past it and get on with the rest of this review. In this 30-second clip, I narrated for the first 17 seconds as Andy Barker looked at himself in the mirror, walked out of his house, and is joined by actress Clea Lewis. Clea had exactly 4 seconds of dialogue.
You're an accountant, Andy Barker. You go where the numbers take you.
Before I went into a bit more narration, which led into a clip of Clea on The Ellen Show back from the 90s that was on ABC. This is the very beginning of the television show, so it barely even sets anything up. But hey, let's continue on with the review, shall we? Andy Richter plays Andy Barker, but he is not a private investigator. He is actually an accountant who is going out for his first day as a small business owner, a small proprietor, deciding he has had enough of working for the man.
You're an accountant, Andy Barker. You go where the numbers take you.
The super cute wife is played by Clea Lewis, who you might recognize recently, or perhaps much better recognized from her role on Ellen back in the 90s.
Did you see Nightline last night?
Oh, don't you hate Ted Koppel? He's so superior. It's like there's only one opinion in the world, and Ted has to have it.
Andy has set up shop in a not-so-bustling strip mall, and I guess he expects 100 people to just walk through the door looking for accounting help, and it really isn't the case.
You know, I always said this job would be great if it weren't for the customers.
So Andy decides to look around the mall, and he first meets a board manager of a dying video store named Simon, played by the extremely talented Tony Hale. Right from the get-go, we see Simon is a pretty bored guy.
Seriously, what is that?
It's a remote-controlled Sandra Bullock doll from Miss Congeniality 2.
Oh, score! Man, I didn't think they could top Miss Congeniality 1, but they came pretty darn close.
Because I don't recall seeing a little skinny-ass white girl at the table growing up. Hey, first of all, thank you for calling me skinny.
I made it to mock the movie. You can record your own voice into it.
I just left that in there for foreshadowing's sake. Simon shows Andy around the mall, which really consists of showing Andy the kebab place run by Wally. With that, the two go about their day, with 0 customers. Who knew running a brand new accounting office would be so slow?
I'm bored! I'm so bored!
Day 2 was about as slow as day 1, and as Andy is ready to call it a day, in walks a buxom Russian blonde in a red dress named
Nadia Kerensky. I would like some help from you.
I should have went into accounting.
My husband, Nikolai, died a year ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Obviously, this woman is not here for accounting help, and Andy's puzzled. So are we. What are you looking for, lady?
I think my husband is not dead. I need you to find him.
I'm sorry. It's just that...
Here's $4,000.
Oh.
There's more when you look it.
Oh.
Show me the money.
$4,000. Wow, let's see. So far, Andy has had 0 accounting customers, bringing in $0, minus rent and electricity, and he's in the hole. So some mysterious Russian woman showing up with $4,000 looking for help, I mean... Hey, at least it's bringing in some type of income, right? So, why is she there? The mystery is solved pretty quickly when she hands him a business card for Lou Stasiak, the man who had had the office before Andy. Speaking with Simon, the movie expert, about the woman, Simon is very quick to point out,
Please, she's a fake. She's not this guy Nikolai's wife.
What do you mean?
It's rated at Chinatown.
Chinatown is frickin' amazing, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, even with it being directed by a guy who basically fled America dodging a statutory rape sentencing. So, yeah, there's that. And I'd also avoid the sequel to Two Jakes. Even if you love Chinatown, I could just recommend you take a nap for 2 hours.
The phony Evelyn Murray goes to see Jack Nicholson before Faye Dunaway, the real Evelyn Murray, shows up.
I never saw Chinatown. Is that what Jackie Chan?
Anyways, this thing with the woman, it's all a big setup.
I'm just gonna give her money back and tell her to go to the police.
Andy doesn't go to the police. He goes back to his office and he looks at the $4,000 and then he gets on the internet. He learns that this guy is a local councilman who went missing. When Andy sees the words tax return...
Tax return? Things just got interesting.
Except when he clicks on the link for the tax return, it's not there. So Andy heads off to get a copy of the tax return, though he's stopped by the person at the local office for not having the proper clearance.
I need to see your Metro Press card.
Come on, can't you just let me take a quick peek at it? I mean...
Sure. I'd do anything for you.
And ends up basically stealing the tax return. Way to go, Andy! Andy looks over the return and notices that Nikolai gave a bunch of money to the church, but then didn't write it off, which does not make sense to the accountant in him. So he drives over to the church, but gets the cold shoulder from the priest inside. And Andy, he's crestfallen.
I do not know him.
Really? He gave the church a sizable amount of money.
I should go. My hamburger.
Yes, of course, your hamburger.
But as he makes his way back to the car, he sees a familiar face leaving the church. So a chase ensues, which is funny because you'd never really imagine Andy in like a running chase, Barker or Richter. But Andy does chase Nikolai down and tries to get some answers.
Who are you?
Andy Barker, I'm an accountant.
How did you find me?
Your tax return. I figured that you were paying the church advance rent because you're planning on hiding out here.
You have to understand, I had to go into hiding to protect my wife.
Well, she's fine, but she's very concerned about your son.
We have no children.
Andy doesn't have time to get his answers as the bad guys swoop in, grab Nikolai, and smash Andy right in the head. He watches the van leave and only has one thought in his mind.
Chinatown.
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 Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Jenny ends up picking Andy up from the hospital, but The wife is not too pleased about his sudden change in profession.
Might I remind you that you are an accountant who has a meeting tomorrow with Ron Davies?
She makes Andy swear off PI work, but Andy decides to pay a visit to Lou Stasiak at his wonderful new location at the old folks' home. Lou is happy to hear what Andy has done so far and knows exactly what is going to happen to poor old Nikolai.
See, the goons who grabbed your boy will take him to the top Rusky, and they'll whack him. You got maybe 12 hours to find him.
I don't suppose you want to take over the case?
Me? You got your boy into hot water. Let's see if you got the Mike and Ikes to get him out.
Andy drives back to the strip mall and grabs Simon from the video store and goes to get some kebabs. Andy and Simon go to Wally's kebab store to try to think if there is anything that can be done to track down Nikolai. It's here that Andy realizes that Wally has a massive amount of surveillance equipment in his store. It turns out that Wally also surveys the outside parking lot as well. And as they check the surveillance tapes, they find a gray van, and on that van is written Duffy Plumbing.
Hey!
Not bad, huh? Hey, Hakim! You are on the clock, no eating the pickles!
Simon decides to tag along as Andy goes to find Nikolai. They find the Duffy Plumbing van. They find the goons carrying a rug into a secret hideout. And they still decide that it is a good idea to go inside and take on the Russian mafia. And so the duo just stroll in.
Who's this? Lou Stasiak.
Actually, I'm Andy Barker. I'm an accountant.
I'm Simon. I manage a video store.
So it's one of those situations where Simon thinks that all of his movie knowledge will come to good use.
Godfather 1, am I right?
Simon.
You know. Michael and Enzo the baker come out of the hospital, and they don't have guns, so they put their fingers in their pockets to intimidate Salazar's men. This guy's not carrying a gun. I made a mistake.
There is, I'll say, almost zero plan here, and Andy first decides that reasoning with the Russian mob is the thing to do. And that is until the head of the entire operation decides to show her face.
You lied to me.
Beat them to death.
The building is surrounded. Come out with your hands up. The building is surrounded. Come out with your hands up.
Do you not know? I told you there was foreshadowing.
Come out with your hands up.
Oh, wait. Is that the right button? Oh, jeez, I hope this thing recorded.
Miss Congeniality 2 recording doll to the rescue.
The director wants to
You're my new partner. You have to like me.
Somehow this inane plot with the Miss Congeniality doll actually works, because Simon manages to grab Nikolai and the three are able to exit without being chopped up to tiny pieces. I mean, I've seen Eastern Promises. These Russians are vicious. So they get in the car, they're chased by the Ruskies, they throw out a baby's car seat out the window to try and stop them, and the Russians, they keep coming. Andy actually maneuvers to a point where they're able to get away.
Hey, now just bang around and get on the 101. And we are home free. What are you doing?
Where's he going? Well, there is one little other tiny piece of foreshadowing that was slid right in.
I'm sorry, I got a 2:30 with a client.
That's right. Andy isn't going to lose his meeting with the client, so he pulls up to Ron Davies' business, and who is there? It's Smart Brother himself, Gary Anthony Williams. That's a good casting get right there for a pilot.
Ron manufactures pallets, and Nikolai's on the run from the Russian mob.
Is this a good time, Andy?
So Smart Brother gets in the car, and then the car chase then ensues. While Andy, without missing a beat, tries to sell his services to Ron Davies and how to get Ron through the upcoming years fiscally.
Okay, here's what we do. We split the IRA into two funds. The smaller one pays for college over the next 5 years. You still have to pay tax, but there's no penalty.
That's plenty close call, Kimasabi. Too close.
Well, thanks to his driving trickery, Andy basically gets away scot-free, and he's able to get away with Nikolai while securing Ron as a client. Now, the Russians now know Andy's real name.
Actually, I'm Andy Barker.
They know where he works.
May I help you?
Okay.
So I'm not really sure why the adventure is over, other than it is a 22-minute pilot and we have to move on. Lou does come back at the very end with a new case, and we get a feeling that no matter what his wife Jenny thinks, this accountant-private eye combo is probably here to stay. As the series moved away from the pilot, Andy Barker PI really got so much more hysterical.
He was murdered.
Murdered?
He must have been. I mean, you saw him. He was in the prime of life.
The plots were amazing, and as Simon and Lou and even Jenny joined Andy on his adventures, the show became very interesting as well.
He has hair! He has head hair! He does have head hair! It's salt and pepper head hair! He lived down at the marina! Oh! Oh!
Thanks for your help.
Of course, NBC ended up canceling the show after just 4 episodes, and they burned the last 2 episodes on a Saturday night when I was probably out drinking because I never saw them until it actually came out on DVD. You can find episodes on YouTube, but my suggestion is, if you have Hulu, to check out the entire series of Andy Barker PI on that streaming platform, because on Hulu, the series looks pretty gorgeous. There are 2 more best comedies you've never seen coming at you soon. One is Jeff Anderson's brilliant Now You Know, and it's going to be followed by the horror comedy Sodomaniac. So there is something you could really look forward to. Let's cue the narration. Andy Barker PI starred Andy Richter, Tony Hale, Claire Lewis, Harv Presnell, and Marshall Manish. Seek it out. It truly is one of the best comedies you've never seen. Thanks for watching. It really helps if you like, subscribe, and comment below, especially if you liked what you saw today. We will be back with another best comedy you've never seen, but until then, this is Ryan from 2G1, and I'll catch you next movie.
Floating like a ghost, gotta keep eyes on you. You'll sneak up behind me, touch me and I'm through. Unless I'm feeling big, just get a little bit belittle. It's hard to resist the physical thrill of jumping on top of you for the kill.
We could watch Jungle Fever.
Why would you think I'd want to watch those movies? Because I'm black?
And because I'm white. Hello.